Welcome back to This American Ride podcast, where we talk about issues that affect you, the average American. What's up? Welcome back to This American Ride podcast. I'm George here with Bert.
What's happening?
There's a lot happening. Cheers,
mother fluffer.
Little Basil Hayden.
So we're back.
We are.
What's going on with this mic?
We are. My job is going to slow down a little bit here, so there's hope for consistency up in here.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice.
There is hope.
There's pros to getting fired.
Easy. Not yet. Thank God.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today? So there's obviously the biggest piece of craziness news that's going on.
I feel like we have to talk about the college protest situation.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about it.
We have to.
Oh man, what a cluster! What are we doing?
I can't, dude.
So, in case you're someone that doesn't watch the news and has no social media and doesn't live near a college campus or university around the country here, apparently it is now this has been brewing, but apparently it's the cool thing now for these ridiculous little liberal weirdo entitled university students to protest in support of Hamas because, well, I don't know why. Do you know why?
They don't say it's in support of Hamas, though. They don't
say that, but that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is, but they're not saying that.
Of course, they don't say that. But here's the thing, like so they're like Columbia's been the big one that you're hearing a lot about, but it's all over the place. I mean, there's a whole slew of them in California. I actually had a list. I just had it.
UCLA's got going.
Oh, all the UCLA's.
The big one is Michigan State, which I want to talk. I want to talk a little bit about Michigan State because I think in Michigan State, the root of everything was revealed at Michigan State. That was, to me.
So this is the list.
Holy cow!
That I saw posted today of colleges with Palestine encampments. So City University, New York, the New School in New York, University of Rochester, University of California at Berkeley, University of Southern California, USC, California State Polytech, Yale, Northwestern, University of Maryland, Harvard, of course, all of those, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, Columbia, Tufts, all the schools where the kids really think they're smarter than anybody on the planet. University of 14 Michigan, University of Minnesota, University of Nevada, Princeton, University of New Mexico, Ohio State, UNC Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina, Temple, University of Pittsburgh, Brown, Vanderbilt, Florida International, University of Kansas, University of Arizona, Texas A&M, University of Texas, Austin, University of Texas at Dallas, Indiana University, Purdue University. So,
did you get University of Wisconsin-Madison there?
It wasn't on here. Oh, well, that doesn't mean they're not protesting. This was with
physical encampments.
So, there's a lot to talk about the encampment thing because I think all these people that love to talk about the freedoms, the freedom, the right to this, the right to that. I don't think any of them know what is in this right here.
Yeah,
the U.S. Constitution. I don't think any of them have a clue. Freedom of speech. They don't even know what it actually says in the First Amendment.
Well, I think one thing before we talk about these encampments, because I do want to talk about these very peculiar encampments. One big thing is just because you have the freedom to assemble and you have freedoms in this country, those freedoms do not stand outside existing laws. Like,
no,
you have the right to assemble here. Nobody's harping on the right to assemble. You do not have the right to assemble and be destructive. You do not have the right to be disruptive. I mean, you cannot shut down a bridge. Protesting is not shutting. You know what I mean?
No,
protesting is.
It's not.
It is not that.
And it says word for word the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves out. Actually, even I think it was that dude who was the news guy that was the brother of the Cuomo. Was it Cuomo? What's his brother that was in the news?
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah,
was on
yeah.
the news.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He, I think, even says it was him or somebody. One of those clowns said at one point, "Where does it say anything about peacefully protesting?"
Right there.
The First Amendment. It's right in it. It
Yeah.
says peaceably.
Yeah.
But apparently, when they have some bug up their butt, that's not the case. They can actually they broke into, took over one of the halls,
Well,
Hamilton Hall.
let's real quick with Columbia. I want to get there. Columbia, this protest started, right? And Columbia said to the NYPD, no, no, no. It's the students' right to protest. Right? It's the students' right to protest. I don't even know at this point that everybody protesting is even a student at Columbia.
They're not.
So
they've actually been on videos saying, "I'm not even a student here. I'm just here in support."
Yeah, I'm just here in support. So, wait, okay, pro-Palestine. There you go.
So
But
do you, if you're not a member of a university, a private university,
Mhm.
do you have a right to be just on campus hanging out?
So I guess that becomes up to the university, because when cities with these city campuses, they're integrated into the city. So it's like I could see how you could not know like necessarily who's a student there. You know what I mean?
No, I can see how you wouldn't
It's
know, but it's still
does it give you the right to do that? I mean, technically, you're on at a university like Columbia. I don't know, but you know, but the whole thing is the students assembled, and the president of Columbia University was like, "Yes, that's good. The students have the right to assemble," which they do, right? They have the right to assemble
peaceably.
peaceably. So apparently it was pretty big. NYPD came in, you know, didn't do anything, stood outside the university, making sure everything was kind of copacetic. Columbia is, in an area where they're not far from a big Jewish neighborhood. Like there's a lot of things could pop off. Like I see the police, New York's finest, doing their job, stepping up, making their presence known. That's what they did. So apparently things started to get a little out of hand. The police came onto the campus, and Columbia was like, "No, no, 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 no. We're good. Let the students do their thing." Told the New York NYPD that they did not want them on the campus. It all happened first day, right? It was like it just one after the other. So then the police left, and things got out of hand. And not 6 hours later, the next headline: Columbia calls NYPD to control protests, because now it's not an assembly. Now it's a protest. Now we've changed they changed their rhetoric about that. So things got out of hand, and then they started their encampment. They went from this encampment for a few days to the occupation of Hamilton Hall. Have you seen I don't know if anybody's seen the pictures and the video.
I've seen a few clips
that have come from inside Hamilton. They trashed the place.
Well, of course they did that.
They trashed it.
But I mean, my biggest beef is they broke in. They barricaded themselves in, and then they go up, to the top floors, and they fly, the Palestinian flag. Isn't that exactly what terrorists do when they take over our embassies overseas? Isn't that like the playbook?
Well, I mean,
they're terrorists.
Ask the next question. How was that not an insurrection? Nobody wants to ask that question, though. Nobody in the media wants to say, "Hey, how is this? This is fucking insurrection." I don't care. It is. It is what it is.
There's so many things there. Like, first of all, you got all these little white nerdy liberal kids wearing this Arab garb, Muslim, clothing, faces cover. First of all, who is protesting peacefully and is in the right and has a reason to be protesting and covers their face?
Yeah,
it's like these guys and like the Klan.
People who
both of which were Democrats.
People don't want to be identified on camera for fear that they might go viral and then not be able to get a job anymore, because that's what's starting to happen.
Of course,
employees are exercising their right to be like, not so much.
I think these knuckleheads are forgetting how many Jewish people are CEOs and business owners of major corporations around the country and the world,
or donors to their university.
Not anymore,
right? Donors to the university. That's a big one. It's not good. And here we had. Did you see the the little Columbia student, I forget her name. She went out to face the media in Hamilton Hall, and the occupation they had demands like
Food.
they wanted food, and she said, I love the words. We want basic humanitarian needs for us in Palestine, and by the way, we paid for the meal plan.
Go down to the chow hall.
You didn't pay for delivery, like DoorDash some shit.
It's hilarious.
You know what I mean? Like you did pay for a meal plan. That's right. And there's food down at the cafeteria for you. So take your privileged little ass, Ivy League ass down there and go pick up your food.
Take a little break from your little terrorist party. Go get you some grub. Maybe it'll calm you down.
I can't.
It's unreal. So I'm probably going to bounce all over the place on this, but you sent me that thing earlier and I'd already seen it. Like if you look at these pictures of all these different encampments from all over the country, right? Out in Cali, here in New York, all these Ivy League schools, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody not curious, like how they just happen to all have the exact same tent, brand new tent, all exactly the same?
Hilarious, dude.
I mean,
does that not ring?
Does that
does that not make you be like, oh, how did they all get green tents?
Like wait, this just sprung up. Like
the people in Columbia and the people in Michigan and the people in UCLA all have the same green tents.
All the same green tents. Come on, man. Come on, what are we doing?
I'm not asking people to be smart or pass judgment. I'm just asking people to use a little common sense. I mean,
it's clearly all, and they've already linked some of it. They're always quick to link it because it's probably so easy. I don't even think they hide it. They always link it right back to Soros. It's always Soros funded.
Well, I gotta tell you,
always Soros funded, and this is not even about because these people, like you've seen the footage of people out there like asking them, what is it, that you're protesting, whatever. And these kids have no idea. They can't even verbalize what it is, why they're there. They're looking at each other, looking at their friends, like hoping the friend can bail them out on this. None of them know. They have no idea.
Yeah.
So if the leadership at the university came down and talked to whoever's, there's always one person that's like running the show, these little takeovers, and said, what is it that you want from us? Tell us, we'll do it, and we can end this. What would they even ask for? What are they asking for?
They want Palestine free from the river to the sea.
So you want Columbia University to affect what's going on and to use their power to affect the war that's going on.
So what they wanted was wanted all businesses and everything associated with Columbia to they wanted Columbia to expel all businesses that have any affiliation with Israel.
How about no?
Yeah, that was a demand. That was a legit demand that they that they put out there, and that was from Michigan as well. They wanted, so that seems to be their common rhetoric. They think that, and this is nothing more. I think worse than Soros funding it. I think we're funding it, and I say that because it's there was the Afghan people had money. We had that money here in the U.S. Right. Biden took that money, and this is all, this is something I knew about, but this is something actually that recently again came out on the Sean Ryan podcast. Biden took that money and split that money between the U.S. and Switzerland because he was afraid. He made a ploy that, families of 9/11 were trying to get this money, and it was the Afghans' people money, but the Afghans are obviously, the Taliban was responsible for 9/11 and then gave bin Laden shelter. So there were lawyers that were trying to go after this money because it was Afghani money.
Right.
So Biden decides he's going to split this money, protect the Afghani people, right? And keeps half it here in the U.S. in a bank, and half of it moves half it to Switzerland. By moving half it to Switzerland, he appoints this committee, right? One of which was Swiss, one of which was somebody else, and then one of which is an Afghani American. And apparently one of the three also sits on the board of this trust account now, this Afghan trust for the Afghan people, billions of dollars, also sits on the Afghan International Bank, which is controlled by the Taliban. And this is just connecting the dots. Afghan's currency is printed in France. You have to pay to have that currency printed. That money comes from the Afghani People Fund in Switzerland, which is collecting $200 million a year interest or whatever it's collecting. And then all that money gets funneled right back into Afghanistan. Who controls the money that goes into Afghanistan? The Taliban. Who is funding death to America? I mean, you look at. I mean, it seems like a long roundabout thing, and some people are going to call that a conspiracy theory. But guess what, man? A lot of conspiracy theories
Yeah,
are
well,
not such a reach.
it's conspiracy theory season, so and most people with them, there have been more right than wrong over the last 5 or 6
but
years.
but it's crazy. You know what I mean? So I think, I mean, yeah, Soros could be funding this, but obviously somebody's funding this because a bunch of broke ass college kids
He's definitely
are
involved.
are not are not organizing an Amazon buy to all get the same green tent that was on sale to have it shipped
Yeah,
to their college
yeah,
campus
yeah.
so that they could.
What happened? What happened the summer of 2020?
What happened in summer 2020?
All the BLM riots.
Oh, Jesus.
The
So,
election year, all the BLM riots. We
mhm,
haven't really had too much of this over the last 3 plus.
mhm,
Guess what? We're now in the summer of an election
Chenier,
year, and now we're gonna have all these college campus, you know, protests that get out of hand and are crazy. UCLA, last night, I think it was,
mhm,
there was some like pro Israel and Jewish kids that came down to like confront these Hamas supporters, and it turned into a massive like brawl.
yeah,
It went on for hours. They said because the police were nowhere to be found.
yeah,
So this went on. It was just a chaos.
because cops don't want to show up and have an incident.
So I mean, it's just it gets out of hand. But then you see in other places where it's handled much differently
Mhm,
in certain parts of the country. Obviously, the West Coast, the Northeast, it's going to be handled, and it's basically being controlled by the liberals in charge. But you see what happens down in Florida and Texas when this stuff happens, right?
yeah,
They're pepper spraying the crap out of people in UT Austin there,
yep.
and just they've arrested like 79 people or something like that.
They carried them out.
They
They
did the
carried them out.
same
UT
thing
Austin.
down in at Southern Florida or something like that. One of those
So,
schools,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
jacking them up there.
Mhm,
I love watching those ones. And then there's the viral video clip from Chapel Hill
mm,
of the frat boys that went viral. The a lot of them Jewish, but and pro Jewish fraternity brothers all went down and stopped them from taking down, because that's the big thing that they're doing is they're ripping down American flags. They're putting up these Palestine flags,
yeah.
right? So they stopped them from doing that. And they protected the flag. They didn't let them take it down. They kept the flag up, and they're all the video clips are just kind of going viral. You've seen that, right?
I haven't seen that one, no.
Really?
Yeah,
All over Instagram.
yeah, that one I haven't seen.
All over
Ma
Instagram.
makes me, I'll say it makes me happy, it's probably not the right word, but it, I guess it makes me proud because
Gives you a little bit of hope.
it's good, right, it's good to see that, listen, people can only be pushed so far,
Yeah.
and I feel like our breaking point today is much different than the breaking point, obviously, in the
Light
1700s,
years.
right? Because the people in the 1700s, man, they threw tea into the harbor over 2% tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 2% tax. They threw tea into the harbor. Like, we've had enough, 2% tax increase. These Americans, we're sitting here on 40% inflation, and we have a close election campaign. Like,
Oh, it's insane.
so obviously the breaking point of the American people is is much further than we are at right now. But it's good to see, especially young people, because I mean, it's good to see young people that are like, no, it's an American flag. Like,
Well, my thing, and I put
yeah,
this on Instagram, and I stand by this. If you're a student at any of these universities where it's going on, and you're not pro Palestine, you're just an American loving. You might have even a dog in this weird fight, but if you're there and you're letting them rip down American flags, you're either a coward or you're not. You don't love America.
yeah,
Like, I know if I was at Rowan and this was going on,
yep,
I'd have friends and we'd be down there.
yeah.
If nobody else is going to do it, we would be
Hmm.
down there.
So
100%. How do you not? How do you just sit there and first of all, these people that are doing this, once you smack them once, they scream and they run away.
yeah,
They're not tough.
that's where we're at right now. I think it's just I think it's gonna get more. I mean, I think temperature. This is just going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and somebody's.
I just feel like this is
Yeah.
all. It's the same thing as in 2020. It's a huge distraction from the real issues,
Oh yeah.
right? Because if you're thinking about this
Mhm.
crap and they're making it this anti-conservative thing, and that we're
Yeah.
supporting Israel and the horrible things they're doing, people aren't thinking about the two biggest issues in the country right now, which is the border and the economy. Because if you're voting in November for anything other than those two things, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You really just truly are an idiot. That you just have no clue. Your priorities are jacked.
Or you have so much money, the economy doesn't affect you, and you think you live far from the border, so it's not an issue.
Yeah, I promise you, you don't live far enough from the border,
Mhm.
because the amount of millions they've let in, they're literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's
And one day it'll affect you.
The FBI has been just screaming that we have a problem. You know what I mean? I mean they are. It's not Homeland that's screaming; it's the FBI. The FBI is like, we have insurgents and we have an issue, and that in itself is an issue. If it was Homeland, Homeland's always kind of freaking out, like threat level's not good,
Yeah.
But when the FBI starts, the FBI tracks people like they are in touch.
Yeah.
I mean, the agency, I mean, they have a bad rap, but they are in touch with the insurgents, and they have a network, and they know who's here. They know, So can they find them? Different story. Will ICE do anything to them if they are found? Also a different story. But, we have a problem, and it's going to happen, sooner than later. And, I just hope at this point, the only thing I can control is what I can control, and hope it doesn't affect, me or my friends or my family, because just like 9/11, man, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Everybody thought we were invincible. Everybody thought we were invincible before Pearl
They're
Harbor.
already saying like it's inevitable. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of when at this
Mhm.
point with what we've allowed to go on, what we've allowed
Yep.
in here. And I guarantee you the next time it's probably going to probably make 9/11 look small.
Well, I think that's we all know that that's the plan. That's what they would like, right?
Mhm.
So how do you make 9/11 look small? You make 9/11 look
Mm.
small with a dirty bomb or the water supply, or something else that we know is
Well,
we
yeah,
all
now
know is.
you now don't have how many people? How many was it on 9/11? How many
Mm.
were there? 11 or something like that. What was the number
Oh
of?
yeah, 11 terrorists. Yeah, yeah.
So I forget the number, but
It
it
was
wasn't
like
it wasn't a lot.
yeah, it was less than 20. Yeah.
But now how many of them are in here, and they're not scattered all over the country?
Yeah.
Able to communicate if they are
Oh
like
yeah.
a network,
Mm-hmm.
right? So who's to say when it happens next time it's not in like 12 different cities at the same time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't guarantee that that's not happening. You've already seen what's come
Mm-mm.
across the border.
Yeah.
Yeah, friggin' known terrorist come through, and he was openly bragging about, we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You don't know who I am because you're stupid, and wait till you see it. Like, just happen.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
But I
So
mean, like, I think all these little retards are being used. I don't think anybody really cares about their purpose. I think they have people controlling them, above them, funding this, pushing this, because it's just a big giant distraction from the real issues.
it's just like BLM, though. It is. There are a lot of parallels to BLM, and the same thing
It's
with
the same people.
It is the same people, but it's the same thing. Is nobody's asking the right questions. Nobody's asking the questions of, where did the pallets of bricks come in Minneapolis before the riots
Well, I don't
that were dropped off in
know
the
if
streets?
I think we all know.
But I'm
What's
saying,
to ask?
but what's the difference? Where'd all the green tents come
It's
from?
more of, why is no one doing something about it?
You know what I mean? It's like it's not even in. Not even in. Like, could somebody in the media be like, does anybody think it's funny about the green tents?
No.
I mean, it's not my favorite. And like I said, I don't know if this is true or not, but it is probably the only one that really put a smile on my face today was the Harvard Young Republicans, where the Palestine encampment was having a hunger strike, because that's what they're doing now. They're hunger striking because we think we're the Irish. We think we're the Irish from the '80s, so we're gonna hunger strike to prove a point, right?
Right.
And most of these, I guarantee you, most of these chumps don't even have the self discipline to do a real hunger strike.
God, no.
So it's where was I go with that?
What they did next to him.
Oh, they had the so while the encampment in Harvard is having a hunger strike, the young Republicans set up and had a barbecue like 50 feet away. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, how can that not put a smile on your face?
that would. Where was this supposed to be at?
It was Harvard, man.
Oh, it was at
It was
Harvard.
Harvard.
Oh, I can
There's
see
young
that. Of
Republicans at Harvard.
course there are.
You
Of
know,
course there are. I could have
so
seen that happening in
and
Austin.
I mean, I feel like the other thing is what is the point, and what is their real point? And there is a flyer that has been distributed, um, these pamphlets, and it's like a thesis on Palestine solidarity in the United States is what it's called. And in the end of in the end of at the end of the flyer is says death to America. And that's the point. And I'm trying to find the where it is. Um, and another pamphlet was entitled "First We Take Columbia." So it's like, so what's next? New York, or
The whole city.
you're gonna move down to NYU.
They
First
can
we take
have
Columbia,
It's
then
already going on in
yeah,
NYU.
yeah. So it's like
They can have New York.
they can have New York. I was just trying to find the and there were things going around that this was fake. This was not. It was not faked. This pamphlet showed up in multiple posts from multiple different students, um, and basically the theme is like, let's not forget the point of what we're doing here, and it's death to America.
Mm.
So
Yeah, ironically, how many of these students chanting that are here on a student visa?
well, I personally feel like if you are here on a student visa and you get arrested at one of these protests,
You should be gone
gone, dude,
before morning. You should be on a
gone.
flight. And I don't mean like a commercial flight. I mean like a scary flight, government airplane flight, and
Yeah,
just dumped wherever you're from. Just peace.
it's and the other thing that's interesting is I still look at all the headlines, even though I don't subscribe to the corny news network.
Oh yeah, you can't help but see it
And you
though.
still see the headlines, and they are the headlines today
Comical.
were Biden protest disrupt Biden campaign.
Mm.
It's
That's good for him. He should be glad.
well, I mean,
This
that's like,
campaign is a joke.
so and here's like two different people, two different types of people saying it's two different way. Democrats are like, oh, all the stuff, and it's giving the Biden campaign a problem and putting him in a disadvantage. And those of us who are Republicans are looking at this going, that's exactly what he needs,
Mm.
is for people not to talk about the
Yeah.
fact that he walks around the stage like a Roomba, that stairs are basically off limits at this point. I mean,
You got the one candidate who's not allowed to campaign. He's literally being blocked from campaigning by
yep.
the left
Well, that was the
their
point.
their corruption, and yet without even really campaigning, he's campaigning and polling better than the guy who's free to do whatever he wants. Who, by the way, I just saw something today. I didn't get to dig into it, but basically they were saying something about he was using, I don't remember what, a government agency and government money. He put out some memo about pushing to get people to get out the vote, and he's like using taxpayer dollars and government agency to get Democrats to get out and vote, like
Oh,
to spread the word to get out and vote, like the push to get out. You can't do that.
oh yeah.
That's why you have your campaign, but you can't use a government agency and send out a memo to
Oh yeah.
whatever this government agency is about getting those people pushing, spreading the word and things like you're using the government agencies to campaign for you. That's not legal.
Yep. Yep.
It's
That's
crazy. It's crazy the stuff that goes on. It's like Twilight Zone stuff.
what's crazy is people look at all this Trump shit and they're like, wow, he committed these crimes, yada yada yada. And you know what? Maybe he fucking did. But what didn't have to happen is you didn't have to um you didn't have to wait fucking 3.5, 4 years to pursue this in court.
No, it was.
It was a very prescribed timeline. Very
Is there?
prescribed timeline.
And the funny thing is, like, the extreme left, they won't even care. Like, they won't deny it, and they'll still be fine with it because it's for their side. But
Yeah.
Is there anybody out there, hopefully, like anybody moderate who's like really maybe doesn't like either of them or whatever? But do you really think that if Trump wasn't running, do you still think any of these charges, any of these court cases would be going on?
No. No, all this
Not
stuff
a
would have
chance.
no, all this stuff would have disappeared.
Not a chance. Not a freaking
All this
chance.
stuff would have disappeared. So I found the wording of this. So I just wanted to I just wanted to set the record straight on what the wording from this pamphlet is. And it's and now I'm not. Freedom for Palestine means death to America, is what the pamphlets read. Yeah. Distributed around the and companies as they perceive profiting from Israel's war against Hamas. And that's the whole thing, is that we are all profiting against that America is profiting against Israel's war and Hamas. So by sending billions of dollars over there in aid, we're profiting right now.
We've sent money to Iran, who's
Billions.
funding the war against Israel.
Yeah, by the way.
How can you be so blind? Like if anything, we have a president who's like doing the bare minimum to help Israel.
Yeah.
You should be happy it's not Trump, because this would have ended already and your little side wouldn't be happy.
He is doing less to help Israel than any sitting president I feel like we've had.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a quote from the NYPD chief. I don't know what he's chief of, but John Shell. No more suspensions. Let's try expulsion of these entitled, hateful students. Pack your belongings and get out. Let's remove faculty and staff who have replaced their educational licenses for a license of hate. You're fired. I wonder who he follows. You're fired. You're fired.
You're fired.
How about the unions, huh? How about the New York?
The New York unions?
Whatever construction union that was. I don't know. I don't know nothing about unions and local, 69s. But
well, I mean, unions usually vote whoever lines themselves. But I think the unions in the New York case see like, oh, now we have illegals that are going to take our jobs.
Well,
I mean,
I'm sure that's a big chunk of it.
It's a huge chunk of it.
But I mean, union bosses are still all they're still Democrats. They're still, I'm sure they're still pushing for them, but they're just done. They're done.
They're done. They can't look at these people and be like,
that clip of that dude the other day was hilarious.
They can't protect the jobs. I mean, if these guys are they can't. They just at some point a union has to protect the job, and these people are gonna, you can't.
It's insane,
especially a city like New York. The immigration invasion in New York is, not far from a boiling point.
It's insane.
It's not far from a boiling point. But I mean, these students. I mean, listen. What's $750 million a year government gives to these colleges?
I don't understand why the government's giving them a dime.
No. So
I don't get it.
This whole thing is funded by us. It's just it's a hot mess.
These professors are the ones, I feel like they spark it, man.
Oh yeah.
How did we get so many anti-American, terrorist-loving professors into these universities? When did that happen?
I think, I don't know. I think universities have always been more in the liberal. I mean, you go back to protesting the Vietnam War.
They've always been liberal. Is this different?
Is this just our generations sit down with it?
This is different, man.
I mean, kids got shot at Kent State. I mean, how different is this right now?
It's very different. Who shot the kids at Kent State?
National Guard.
I thought you were talking about the guy in the bell tower. That wasn't at Kent. Where was that? Was that in Texas?
That was in Texas. That was in Texas. Yeah, that was in Texas. That was in Austin. It was UT. You
sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was UT.
Yeah, it might have been.
So, but yeah, I mean, National Guard shot students at Kent State.
And
so
what's that got to do with the professors?
It's just the boiling point that this thing has reached, in the fact that I think that I don't know that this is any worse perceivably than what happened, what was going on then.
I feel like back in the day, these professors were mostly, upper class, white, liberals that were just kind of anti-establishment government stuff. And they preach that. And most of these aren't even like American-born people now that are the professors.
It's still anti-establishment, though. I mean,
it's less anti-establishment and more anti-America.
Well, it is anti-America.
There's a difference,
And my thing is,
it's okay to question authority. It's okay to question your government, but no matter how much I hate this government, I would never chant death to America.
No, not even close.
And no real American would.
Yeah.
But these kids are idiots. They're just brainwashed. They don't know. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just that dumb that they've been told to do this. And these kids that age nowadays are extremely. It used to be like kids like to be like different and stand out. Like back in our generation, like it was like you almost wanted to be different. You didn't want to be the same as everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And now they have to like get along with the whole herd. They'll do whatever it is, just to be included, because they're so afraid of not being included because they have so much mental health issues and they're so fragile. Their psyches are so fragile that they can't handle like being, picked on by anybody or, ostracized from the group or whatever. They'll go kill themselves. So they'll just do whatever. Yeah. Whatever the group says. It's just a giant herd mentality now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't even remember like through our college years any of this shit happening like this. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, this is just maybe we're just a different generation. Maybe we're getting old. I don't know, but I don't ever remember, being on the campus of NGIT or being on the campus of Rutgers or, any of these Rowan. You know what I mean? Any of these colleges that any of this, bullshit ever took place. I mean, we had issues.
It's always been issues. There's always been some protests. There's always been things, but everything's so extreme now. Every time something happens, it's got to be this giant extreme measure.
Yeah.
And there's always violence now. There's always got to be violence. Yeah. And it's always, and it's always going to be a big group on us, against an individual or a small group when it gets violent. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, I want to know, when did it become so a few years ago it was bad to be racist, right? Couldn't be racist. No racism there. Trump was a racist. You like Trump, you were racist. You could coin anybody racist. When did it become cool to be anti-Semitic?
Did we not literally just have this whole big thing when that crap happened in Pittsburgh and the synagogue got shot up or whatever?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, everybody was posting their Israeli flag and in support of, and we're not going to stand for this, and Pittsburgh strong and all that. Like that was only a few years ago.
Yeah, but that also fit the Democratic rhetoric of we need more gun laws.
Yep.
This is how stupid the people are.
Yep.
So that fit the rhetoric of we need more gun laws.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how they can how quickly they pivot, to whatever works for.
Yesterday, you had five U.S. Marshals killed in Charlotte yesterday.
Yeah, I still haven't heard the whole story about that.
They were serving a warrant.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that.
And they were serving a warrant for an ex-con who
had firearms.
Had illegal firearms. Right? Serving a warrant for an ex-con that had illegal firearms. Now, they show up to serve the warrant. I guess the whole family opened up fire. Son, daughter.
They arrested the kid and the
woman. Whoever the woman was, and they killed the dude.
Yeah.
So
should have killed them all.
They should have killed them all. But I mean, again, like, why are we not talking about that? Because one, this college campus shit fits their rhetoric.
Yeah.
And the right's whole thing with gun laws is there's no gun law that is going to stop somebody from illegally getting a firearm.
If they want to, yep.
And it's the whole reason
what this case was.
The whole reason why we're not talking about this. I mean, people can't they can't, they can't see the forest through the trees, as my grandfather would say.
Well, it's funny because I'm surprised you don't have, because this would be something they would do the way they just go with the wind. That I'm surprised you don't have liberals mad about the fact that criminals, ex-cons, don't have the right to have a gun. That's how weird they work, right? Because now it's like, well, why? He served his time.
Why can't he vote
when he comes back out? Why can't he vote? Why can't he have? He served his time. He paid his debt to society. Yeah, because
he raped 10 women.
Because liberals are in love with criminals. Like they defend criminals to no end.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy cow. This is a good one. Hey, real quick, let's take a message here real quick from Legendary USA, who brings you this podcast. What's up, everybody? I just wanted to take a minute to tell you about the sponsor of today's podcast, Legendary USA. Their selection of leather and denim jackets, vests, gloves, chaps, and riding shirts are 100% made in the USA with a lifetime warranty. Legendary USA isn't just about style, it's about quality. With American made products and a commitment to excellence, you can trust that you're getting gear that's built to last. Legendary USA isn't just for bikers. They have a full selection of shirts, hoodies, EDC, tactical and survival gear, all made here in the USA. And here is the best part. Legendary USA is offering our listeners an exclusive deal. When you shop at legendaryusa.com and use the promo code LegendaryPod, you'll get 15% off on your first purchase. That's legendary with a D and pod for podcast. So why settle for ordinary when you can be legendary? Click that link in the description to head on over to legendaryusa.com to explore their fantastic range of products and use the promo code LegendaryPod to snag your 15% off discount today. Now back to the show, and thank you for Legendary USA for supporting this podcast. All right. Welcome back. I find it interesting is probably the average young American now has more college credits on average than Americans have ever had. So in theory, we should be more educated. But it's amazing that along with all those college credits has come the subtraction of common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and people aligning themselves. It's like, Greta von Turdberg.
Ugh.
Yeah. So this little twat, I don't care. Like,
Whoa,
I can't,
family show.
I can't with this girl.
Hello.
I just want to just turn off everything I see about her. She is rolling around the world talking about the global warming crisis and what we should be doing and all this stuff in a private jet. Like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Shut up.
She's something else. Like the fact that anybody even pays attention to this kid, like why are we listening to you?
Take a train, bitch.
I don't get it.
No.
So this is a great point, right? This is Rob Finnerty, who's apparently a host on Newsmax.
Yeah.
He asked the question, he says, something tells me if these college protesters were wearing MAGA hats, the situation would be a lot different. Does anybody think that if this was a bunch of conservatives protesting something, whatever they're protesting, right? Because according to the left, you have a right to protest, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're protesting and they're going about it the same way these terrorists are. What do you think the reaction would be by the university, by the local police, all of that? How do you think that would go down?
I don't know how the local police would react. The university would be out of their mind, though.
You know exactly how the local police would react.
I don't know.
It's the same way they reacted during COVID. And if you think these guys aren't going to do what they're told, and if you think these guys aren't going to do what they're told, and the people at the top telling them what to do are liberals in these towns, these cities, they're going to do what they're told. So now, how do you think it ends? How long do you think it lasts before they physically end it?
Yeah, I mean, I have some faith.
I give it 48 hours max, and I don't even know if it gets that long.
It would definitely be a media spectacle, though. It would be a spectacle on the media. It wouldn't be what this is. They would be
all arrested, and it would be a lot more physical.
The dichotomy of what you're seeing people post on social media and what the mainstream media is posting about these protests.
Oh yeah, well, we
couldn't be further apart. Couldn't be further apart.
No, it's crazy.
And they are downplayed. I haven't seen one major headline, and Fox included, coming across with the inside of Hamilton Hall and how they, trash the furniture and smash cubicles and completely caused, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, inside university property. And again, you have the right to assemble peacefully. You do not have the right to illegally take over a building. You do not have the right to trash the building.
No, of course not.
So yeah, I can't.
It's just a distraction. The whole thing's a distraction.
It's just and people have lost their common sense compass.
Did you see
about
the
this
one,
whole thing?
I don't remember which school it was, but one of the schools, the pro-Israel group, set up one of those giant outdoor screens, and they played the attacks on October 7th just on a loop out just right outside where all the pro-Palestinians were.
They should do.
Yeah, funny thing is those people, if they probably just cheered it, if anything.
And we should, because it's funny with 9/11, right? And I've been talking about this like the past couple of years. 9/11, we always had this saying that went with 9/11: never forget. And
so much for that.
But for years, I was like, how could you forget? You know what I mean? Easily. How could you forget? And it never made sense to me until this generation right now that's in their 20s, that's in college, that has just, those buildings were never there.
Nope.
You know what I mean? They were never there.
They don't know. They don't care.
You've seen nothing but like a 2-second clip of a plane hitting a building. You didn't watch live, people throwing themselves from that on live TV with no delay.
These kids didn't see that.
They didn't see that.
And they obviously have crappy parents that didn't teach them.
Well, that's a thing, right? Which makes sense. It's just, it's tough to.
It's insane.
It's tough to wrap my head around. I think we need a couple of pro-American rallies.
It's just a huge distraction. There's one in Wildwood on the 11th.
That's Trump. The Trump rally.
Pro-America.
It is pro-America rally.
One and the same, ain't they? Yeah. It's just, I don't care what anybody says. It's all distraction. These little clowns are being used. You got, I mean, the CNN poll that just came out, it's like the biggest lead nationally that Trump's had since this whole thing started.
Yeah.
At like 9 points or something like that. And that's like a CNN poll. Like he's just, he's a disaster. The border's a disaster. The economy's a disaster. Gas prices are going up faster than a Biden vote count at 2 a.m. Like it's nuts.
I'll never not laugh at that though.
It's amazing. Like just the things that are going on, food prices, electric, gas, everything, all that stuff. We talked about this on a previous podcast. He does nothing positive, and you still can't find a Biden supporter that can tell you something positive about him.
He's not even a sitting president at this point. I mean, he's a ghost,
freaking vegetable.
He's a freaking ghost. It's gas prices this week in New Jersey. Holy shit!
Oh, but hold on, before you get to gas prices, just a little shout out, a little moment of silence for his uncle that got eaten by the cannibals.
Shit. I can't even.
Such a sad story.
The story was like
such a sad story.
The story couldn't even be further from the truth.
You had this. What was the country? It was it New Guinea?
It was in New Guinea. He got eaten by the cannibals.
They were pissed. They're like, yo, like we're trying to sweep that, we're trying to get past that part of our history. You got to bring us up, making up a story. Like, we don't just eat anybody. Like, unbelievable.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm like,
the stuff that comes out of his face. It's insane. It's insane.
I'm looking at this. A moment of silence. F your moment of silence. I can't.
What's your name, Uncle? Oh,
I don't know. Uncle Eddie, for all I care.
Uncle Boozy, Uncle Boozy, Uncle Bosey, Uncle Bosey,
Uncle Bosey,
Uncle Bosey. It was Uncle Bosey. He, crashed in New Guinea and they ate him.
Didn't he survive though? Didn't he survive the crash?
Till they ate him. Till they ate him. He was good till they ate him.
I can't. That's
unbelievable.
Listen, that's just Joe's truth.
How did he manage to grow up?
It's just Joe's truth.
Every ethnicity, every racial neighborhood in the world.
It's not even that.
Every story you hear, he grew up in with the Puerto Ricans. He grew up with the Latinos. He grew up with the African Americans. He grew up in the Jewish culture. How did you grow up in all these cultures?
Listen,
it's insane.
They polarized the nation over the fact that Trump was a racist, and
still got people that swear by it.
And somehow they've buried the fact that when Biden was a young senator from Delaware, he called ghettos jungles.
Yep.
At a congressional, mind you,
literally doesn't matter if you bring it up.
At a congressional trial.
Yeah,
He was talking about school segregation and their neighborhoods being jungles at a congressional trial.
There is more video evidence of Biden being racist than you will
Ever find out.
ever be able to scrounge up on Trump. All you see of Trump is him being loved and adored by all these minorities before he ran for president.
Oh, yeah.
They loved him. You had him.
Yeah,
I just saw a clip of him going on, what do you call it? The View before he was president. They loved him. Loved him.
He was on Oprah, one of the most famous clips.
Oprah loved him.
One of the most famous clips of him on Oprah, right?
Jesse Jackson loved him. They all loved him.
Yep.
Until he decided he wasn't a Democrat anymore and wasn't donating to them anymore. And then all of a sudden he was a racist. But before that, he's getting NAACP awards.
Yep.
How do you look me in the face and tell me that Trump is racist with all of that evidence? Are you that oblivious to all of those facts that I just said? Or do you just totally ignore that and don't care?
Yeah.
And the scary thing so hard to deal with, it's so hard to deal with.
How many young people, are so, again, afraid of speaking their mind for being ostracized by their massive friends. I can only hope when they go to the voting booth, they vote the right way, but it's got to be an issue. I mean, if grown adults are like that in the workplace, how do you think it is being, an 18 or 19-year-old at one of these colleges?
Tough, man.
It can't be easy, dude. It can't be. It cannot be easy being a young Republican today. It cannot be easy.
You don't have to be a Republican, just if you're not a liberal, crazy liberal.
Well, if you're not, right. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be hard to just be somebody that doesn't care about any of it. And you're just trying to get through your day without, there being a freaking, tranny show in the university student center. You know what I mean? I just want to go get some food. Can I not have to see grown men dressed as women? You
almost wanted to go to a tranny show a couple of weeks ago, man. You were a few blocks away. You were a few blocks away from a drag show in New York there. Where were you?
Oh, that was up in Hudson. It sounds to me like that's an every night occurrence up there, man. Holy smokes.
Asked the bartender what's there to do around here. They're having a drag show down the street.
It's pretty good. I know some of the guys. I was like, all right, well, you were the wrong person to ask. Next. I literally told Carolyn, I was like, there was a girl bartender who was kind of younger, looked like she probably and then there was this dude who looked like he probably does cross dress, and I'm like, ask her what's going on, what there's to do in this little bumblefart town. Nope. Carolyn asked this guy, and he's like, well, not a lot, but the one bar, he names the bar, he's like, they are having a drag show tonight. It's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, we're good.
Not so much. Buddy.
Not a big fan of pedophiles.
It's a
mess.
It's a mess.
It's not going to get any better between now and November. I can tell you that right now. It's going to get crazy between now and then.
I'm kind of, I'm legitimately concerned. It's this now.
They need things. They have to have distractions.
We're in May.
We're in May. They need all the middle of the road people, all the independents, all of the people who Biden is, because I mean, look, there's liberals like we talked about. There's liberals that would never in a million years have ever voted for Trump who are now talking about voting for Trump.
Yeah,
they need all those people to be distracted and forget their reasons for voting for Trump and kind of gravitate. They're hoping that at the last minute, with all this, they'll just go what was natural to them and go back to their base, their root, like what they need it, man, because this guy, he's a disaster.
It's so tough for people because the country as a whole, the country likes, the country likes the middle. When we're in the middle, that's when the country is the strongest. It's when it's the best. And
so far past that,
we're so
it's never coming back.
We're so far beyond that. And now we have a whole group of people, probably a majority of people really, who like the middle, who want the middle, and now find themselves in a situation where they've probably voted one of each way in their lifetime, right? Would probably consider themselves somebody who would vote for the best candidate, you know what I mean, who now find themselves either having to vote for somebody who probably couldn't complete a game of Scrabble, or somebody who they've been taught to hate.
Yeah.
It's hey, look
we're
at
so far past it though. We're never coming back to it, because when the government got involved with all these social issues,
yeah,
all these LGBT things, and just all, when they got into where they're not supposed to be, it's just hard lines have been drawn, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's things that people will never get past.
Yeah.
On either side. But that middle ground, the common sense of, talking out, discussing both sides, having an argument, having a respectful debate about it's gone. Like JFK would be considered a crazy right winger today.
Oh,
they would hate his guts if he was here today.
Well, they didn't like him. That's why they
liked him. It wasn't Democrat voters that didn't like him. It was no. It was other people in the world that didn't like him.
It was the CIA that cooed him.
I mean, it was but the Democrat voter loved him.
How would they have felt about Ronnie Reagan?
Who?
The left today. Like where were people?
Clearly they still hate him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they still see him as the Antichrist. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, of course they do.
It's
because he didn't want the government to be their refuge.
And Ronnie Reagan took over at a time where we had a sitting Democratic president who, guess what? Interest rates were at an all-time high. Inflation was at an all-time high. Inflation familiar? Was so bad during Carter that it affected our lives where we grew up. Into Reagan, you know what I mean? It affected that. So can you imagine, like, there are kids now who are 2, 3, 4 years old that this inflation today is going to affect them well into the rest of their lives. I mean, it's just not.
Well, I'll have you know, if you didn't know this is something I learned.
Oh boy, should be good.
Gas prices.
Fuck gas prices.
So gas is only expensive right now because it's the summer blend.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Although it's not Biden's fault. It's a summer blend, and it's corporate greed. That's why gas prices are expensive.
It's corporate greed.
There's some pretty funny little liberals out there that
I can't.
They're okay with government officials who have like $150,000 salary in their career for 30, 40 years being multi-millionaires. They're okay with that. But capitalism and corporations just trying to make the most money they can is a big problem for them. Dude, go figure.
And they can't figure out that the reason those people are getting paid all that money in office is because of capitalism. But you know what? I mean, there are things that we have to do to un-F America. There are things that can be done, and all of them start
concentration camps.
All of them start, with Congress and Senate. I mean, at the point where,
how do you fix that?
The people, I feel like we're at a point where the people are going to have to revolt to get term limits. But you know what the other thing is? It's like these senators, right? Governors. Let's talk about governors too. There's no reason that a senator needs to travel to Europe for business. There's no reason that a governor needs to travel to China or Japan for business.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
There is no reason. As a senator, you represent people from your district, right? Andy Kim represents, as a representative, the people from Southern New Jersey. Do we have any interest in what's going on in Europe? I mean, like, what are you doing for us?
Andy Kim.
Here, well, it's true. I mean, he's a tool bag, but
as my kids would call him,
a carpet bag,
and libtard.
But you know what I mean? Like, you represent the people here.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
And the other thing I think is, honestly,
I guess maybe there's things to do with business and bringing business to their area, but I still don't see why you would go to them. Like, they can come here. Like, why would you go to another country? They're just getting
you are not
vacays on the government dime,
you
bro.
Are not a foreign dignitary.
No, they're not.
You're not a dignitary. We have people for that.
But I mean, we have this is one of the first times in history where we have a former president who does the stuff that he does that presidents don't usually do. That's Obama. Like he's still
he's still running the country. Let's be honest.
He's still trying to pull strings all over the world.
Yep.
He was in England not that long ago with meetings. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Trying to get Michelle in office.
Michael? You misspoke. You meant Michael?
Oh, Michael.
Michael. I still ain't seen a picture of her pregnant.
That's tough. Yeah, I think had the temperature of the world be a little bit different right now, I feel like she'd have made a play for office. I think she had the funding to do it. I don't think it was a secret that they shopped it. I think everybody knows they shopped it. I just think the temperature of everything is.
She is the most beautiful first lady we've ever had.
I can even say that.
I don't know if you knew that.
I can even say that.
Listen, I just like to regurgitate dumb things liberals say.
We should do a whole podcast on that.
What I wish is this was live and we could take phone calls. That would be freaking sick.
Oh, man.
I would love to hear people's thoughts
on that.
On just everything we've talked about tonight.
It's
that would be great.
It's a tough world out there. Be careful.
We might need to start doing some this American Ride live streams.
We could do This American Ride live stream.
We should probably do that. I think that could be interesting. We could talk politics amongst people that want to talk about politics. We don't get to do that with the other platform.
Maybe we should schedule that.
The other brand.
Maybe we should schedule that. If you're into that and you're following us on Instagram,
I think that could be pretty cool.
Let us know. Send us a DM. Tag us in a post.
Yeah.
And if you're not following us on Instagram, you can go follow This American Ride podcast on Instagram.
Yeah. Follow us on YouTube. I don't know where you're watching this, but please, we got to get the YouTube numbers up, man. It's always a struggle in the early stages.
Posts up. I mean, that's something that we got to be better about. But
yeah,
we got
to figure our problems out. But bear with us
while we try and figure out the country's problems.
Yeah.
But listen, I think term limits, them not having interest outside of the United States, them not being tied to interest, their interest should be tied to their district. And maybe, taking a step further, why don't we make their salaries based upon the median salary in their district? How about maybe that'll help them strive to make things a little bit better in their district?
Yeah. I also think, as much as I love capitalism, I don't think corporations should be able to donate to presidential campaigns.
No, I don't think so either.
You know what I mean? It's just too easy to buy whatever your interest is.
Yeah.
It's just way too easy. I think that shouldn't be allowed. And I don't know how to police it, but somebody has to know how to police it. You know what I mean? Yep. Like there should be these massive donations from corporations or whatever. It shouldn't happen.
Oh, I got another one. How's this one? There's another one I heard recently that I've fallen in love with. Bill should be any bill should be one topic.
Oh, 100%.
Any bill should be one topic.
Yeah.
If you want to vote on something, you vote on it.
Well, like I heard recently, any of these bills, if you listen to whatever they title them, it's never going to have anything to do with it, whatever it's titled. It's not going to have there's going to be no money and no funding in there for whatever it is they're claiming that bill's for.
But they'll use
did a border security bill or border security thing that there wasn't a freaking dime in there for the U.S. border.
No.
But damned if we aren't funding every other border on the planet.
It's border security.
Oh, and every other border, every other country that has giant walls and stuff. Oh, it works. It's great. They love it. Just not here. Just not America. You're not allowed. If you have a border wall, you are nationalist, white, racist, whatever horrible other terms they can use. But what do you call it? Jordan has a massive freaking wall.
Oh, I encourage people.
Completely fine.
I encourage people, if you have not seen the wall that Egypt has between them and Gaza, to go take a look. Because Egypt doesn't want that shit. Egypt doesn't want that bullshit.
I just saw too. Just so you know, I just saw like on the way over here, I saw a headline that said the Biden administration right now they are working on and figuring out how they're going to bring a boatload of Palestinian refugees over here.
Oh yeah, they're going to do it.
Right. So let's bring over these refugees that are all people that hate us. They hate Israel, and Israel's our biggest ally. So do you think they like us?
Yeah,
no. Let's bring hundreds of thousands of them in here and settle them here and give them a whole bunch of free stuff.
That's the thing.
And see how long before they take over.
Israel's fighting the fight that we would be fighting over there.
We're going to be soon.
And so they're not going to get past that. So now they're going to come here and they're going to start the bullshit here. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Hamas played a little game of fuck around and find out with Israel. I still think the whole thing was crooked. I think something went awry, and I don't think there's any possible way that Israel's security could have been down and that lax, and an attack could have been. Something about that whole situation definitely smells to me. But
you think everything's conspiracy, though?
I do,
like
man.
Literally everything.
Yeah. but still, it's.
I mean,
So
the U.S. were we in on Pearl Harbor?
No, I don't think we were in.
Well, how could we possibly have let that happen? How could our security be so lax?
Because we didn't listen.
Oh, well, maybe that's just what happened in Israel.
We just didn't listen.
Maybe they just
we had no security, and we were stupid. We picked up those planes on radar, and we were like, "Oh, it's our flight of B-17s coming in," but
mistakes happen, man.
We were lax.
All the people in charge of the security measures are people.
But we were also not surrounded by people who want to kill us like Israel is. So that's just why I just, yeah. Anyway,
well, I mean, they didn't go after, military sites.
Yeah.
They hit them where they probably didn't expect to be hit.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know what you're getting at. Like Israel was in on it and let their people get slaughtered. I don't think that's
I don't think that.
realistic.
I don't know if that's what happened, or maybe there was one person or a group of people that was on the inside that were crooked. I don't.
Well, we have an whole party that's on the inside and crooked.
That's why I'm saying it's not a stretch. You know what I mean? It's not a stretch. But I mean, the bottom line is Hamas played a little game of fuck around and find out, and they found out.
Yeah.
I mean, and Israel's made it clear.
How quickly we start sympathizing, like with these Palestinian protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters, and just forget about the stuff that happened on that day.
And it's not only that. Like we're looking at this now.
Oh man,
we're looking at this now. Like nobody looks at the fact of like World War II. Like look at the civilian casualties in World War II.
It's war. There's zero way to make sure that civilians don't die.
There's absolutely. I mean,
there's no way. It's going to happen.
Hitler built factories next to schools, in neighborhoods, in cities. We decide to,
Well, that's just it, right? We're the good guys in history are always fighting with one arm tied behind their back because they have to follow all these rules.
Yeah.
Of war. The Geneva Convention, all these things where you got to be humanitarian, all these things like you have to be a savage to win a war.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's something my grandfather. I never forget him saying. He's like, there are no good guys.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
He's like, in your war, there are no good guys, and it was always his thing.
Well, you can't be a good guy and be focused on being a good guy and win a war
and stay alive
because war is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's people fighting for good causes and there's people fighting so that they can, burn Jews alive. I mean, I think you can pick the good guys. Now, what happens in war happens in war.
Yeah.
But we're just so handcuffed now. I think Vietnam there's a reason we haven't won squat since Vietnam. It's true though.
You're not wrong.
You just gave so much access to the press and to the public to sit and like watch it like it's pay-per-view. Like you don't need you don't get that kind of transparency when it comes to war. I don't think you should have it. I don't think any of us are entitled to it.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't win anything because we're trying to not like piss off, the people back home, all the bleeding hearts. You can't win a war that way.
No. You have to let war fighters do.
We have the greatest fighting force on the planet. I think even as jacked up as we are compared to normal today, still hands down the greatest fighting force on the planet, and they just aren't allowed to do their job.
Yeah. I think if you let war fighters do what they were built and trained and really some of those guys,
and the
they weren't
reality
bred
is,
to do.
those guys,
Yeah.
the vast majority of those guys, you talk about like special forces guys and all those guys that we follow and
Mhm.
whatnot. The vast majority of those guys, the kind of character where they're going to do everything, and they don't want to kill kids, they don't want to kill women.
No.
You have, like, if you don't think that that does something to them mentally for the rest of their life, like, they don't want that. So they're not going to just do it just because, but things happen and they have to have the leeway to be able to fight a war without every step and every thing that they do being scrutinized.
Who's the MMA guy you follow? I can't remember his name
Tim
right now.
Kennedy?
Tim Kennedy. What an interview on the Sean Ryan podcast that was.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan.
Holy cow.
He's an amazing human.
I don't want to say I could take him or leave him before that, but I just didn't know a lot about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about him. And, hearing these guys, what they went through and hearing him tell the story of that first sniper kill that he got when he, saw a insurgent running back and forth with a rifle, obviously running ammo to positions, and took down that insurgent. And as they advanced over that territory, as those insurgents retreated, he found the guy that he shot, who was carrying some age-old, World War II rifle.
Yeah.
Who was a kid.
Yeah.
Who was a kid.
That's how it works.
And here was a kid who was actually helping people kill him, and he still felt bad. You know what I mean? It's
well,
so
he's something else, man. He's got a million stories, and he's done more for this country than most.
Well, it's given me hope that there's still hope for America. I mean, I feel like guys like that. He's just hearing the story of him starting up this charter school and how people are not only gravitating towards it, but how it's growing and how people want to be involved, and how people are tired of the school system and not having control over what their kids are taught, and not having any control over that. And seeing this, seeing that take hold is inspiring.
Yeah. He was one of a handful, a small group of people that were over in Afghanistan, like behind enemy lines when Biden botched the whole bailout, or the whole withdrawal out of there.
Oh yeah.
And trying to rescue all the people, Americans, all the Afghan interpreters and their families and things like that. Like, they rescued more people than our government did.
Oh yeah, they did.
Hands down, easily. Just like a group of them, they worked for days without sleep, like making it their mission to save these people.
Yeah,
our government didn't give a crap, man.
No,
it was one of those, what do they call, NGOs or whatever. It was not the government that was doing it. They were doing it on their own, privately funded. Just doing what's right, because our government never does what's right anymore.
Trying to get people out of there. So
yeah, man, it's crazy.
Recap. A lot of stuff to unpack there.
Yeah, it's a lot. We bounced around, but the big focus was, and it's, I mean, maybe it just dies out quick on its own. I have a feeling we're in for a long summer of different BS, these types of things. Maybe it's college campuses right now. I think it's going to probably switch and move to something else, but there's going to be all these distractions, man.
It's going to happen.
It's just in their playbook. Yeah. It's just they follow it. They don't care that it's obvious. They just follow it, word for word every time they need it. It worked for 2020, and I think they're banking on it working again. Just distract and confuse and hope that their base, is confused enough to come back to what they know.
I've learned enough. I've learned enough to know that when you see this going on over here, you probably should be looking over here, because this is what's important. This bullshit over here is just not important. This is over here is important. You know what I mean? So it's
the big part of me is just let them reap what they sow. These universities, these liberal universities, they've encouraged this, they've created this, they've built this. Let them burn.
I could care less.
Let them burn. But when my tune kind of changes is when I see these images of them flying other flags, and that just gets me mad. And then I'm like, I want to just shut them down.
Yeah.
Get in there, throw them all in jail, whatever. Like that's when it really pisses me off. But like they deserve. Like, go ahead, man. You're just losing. They're losing major donors left and right.
Yep.
You know, I saw the thing where Robert Kraft, one billionaire, who went to Columbia.
Yep.
Who has a building on campus named after him because he's such a huge donor. He said he's done. It's not the Columbia I went to. It doesn't stand for the same things that molded me when I was there and shaped me into the man I am. And you're not getting another dime. Yep. And you think he's the only one? Heck no.
No, he's just
no. There ain't a rich Jew out there that's gonna support these universities after what they're doing right now.
Well, there's not one that should. That's for sure.
They're losing them, man. They're losing them big time. Maybe not all, and I hope they come around, but they're losing enough that it's going to eventually hurt their bottom line.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. I don't understand, and I'm not Jewish, so I in a lot of ways I can't understand, but I don't understand at this point how you can be Jewish and vote for a Democrat.
Yeah,
or at least vote for Biden.
I can say it's the same thing about Christians. I don't understand how you can be a Christian and vote for a Democrat.
Yeah, happens
a lot.
Happens
a lot. I don't get it.
Yeah, it happens. But I mean, but I mean, it seems simple to me. It seems black and white for me. You know what I mean? It's like these Democrats are going to let this Jewish hate fester and fester and fester, and it's not just over in the Middle East; it's here on our doorstep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But like I said, it's if they can be so horrible that you get someone like Michael Rappaport, who, I mean, he's still, even as he's saying he probably is going to vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say a nice thing about Trump.
Yeah,
but you've pushed him so far with your anti-Semitism and what's going on with Israel and the liberals' hate for Israel all of a sudden and our lack of support from Biden and to Israel. If you can make someone like Michael Rappaport vote for Trump, like you're screwing up bad.
Yeah,
like you just don't understand what you're doing.
Barr said the same thing this week. Barr said he'd vote for Trump. Barr, yeah. He's like, I vote for Trump.
Yeah. He says lesser of two evils.
CNN's like, how could you vote for him? He insulted you. I was like, you couldn't have scripted.
It was a really good line, though.
You couldn't have scripted a better CNN line than he insulted you. He hurt your feelings.
Yeah, but his answer was really good.
His answer was,
he said, it's not about me.
That's right.
And it's about what's best for the country. And there's no way Biden's best for the country. And basically what he said.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Trump calls me, like that's not what it's about.
It's not even that. It's not like even like we're going into this is our president and we have Biden and maybe you think Trump was bad for the country because we had all this unrest and for some reason you thought Biden was going to fix that. Biden has proven at this point that he has just turned this country upside down. Unless
you're Howard Stern.
If for nothing else, for their family that's trying to buy gas at what is going to be over $4 a gallon before Memorial Day, buy groceries, which are probably averaging right now $30 to $50 a bag. Like
if I had one piece of advice, I would urge everyone that I could on election day, before you go vote, sit down at your house, pay all your bills, go to the grocery store, buy your groceries, stop and get gas.
And then go to the polls.
And then at that point, if you still vote Biden, well, then you're just a special kind of stupid and there's nothing we can do.
Oh, people are stupid. They don't remember they don't remember that they paid less than $2 a gallon of gas less than 3 years ago.
That was because of Obama, I was told.
Oh, is that what that was?
And that's when I was like, wait, now I'm confused.
What's his name?
Because you literally just told me that the president has nothing to do with the gas prices.
But they were low because of Obama.
And then when I said, well, how come every time, a Republican is in office, they're so much lower? Well, that's because Obama was before him. And that's why it was, but you just said that the president, so you just proved my point. And if the president does have something, so now it's like, what?
Pump the brakes, flip-flopper. Pump the brakes.
Stop it, man.
Oh, man. So
it's so much. It's a lot.
All right.
I wouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you turned this off 45 minutes ago.
We're gonna do this again next week.
Because it's just, I mean, I don't know how you can talk about this stuff and just not, like, it gets my blood boiling.
I know it aggravates the shit out of me.
It's just mind boggling. It's like, again, it's Twilight Zone. We should start every one of these episodes with Twilight Zone music. That's what we should do. That should be our new theme music. Because all of these things are just, what? I don't understand.
I can't.
It's a crazy world. But yeah, we do need to cut this. We run these too long, and then we have troubles on the back end.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, man. I hope you guys are paying attention. You know, I hope you're not one of these people. I know everybody's like, so many people are like, I don't like politics. I don't pay attention to politics. Well, trust me when I tell you, politics are paying attention to you. Mm-hmm. So if you're not paying attention, they're going to get the better of you. So I hope you're paying attention.
They are affecting every aspect of your life in this country, whether you choose to believe that or not.
Yeah, for sure. But good conversation.
Yeah, man.
We'll I think we're gonna do these more regularly.
I think so. We get some guests up in the house.
Let us know what you guys think, man. Would you go on YouTube and watch a live where we talk about stuff like this? Politics and current events or whatever else is going on? Because a live would be fun. And I tell you right now, live you get to interact with us because there's this thing called a side chat. And you can talk to us and we can talk back to you. So it's kind of cool. You know, we enjoy those in our other platform when we're talking motorcycles and stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, leave us a comment. Let us know. Send us an email at thisamericanride1776@gmail. Let us know if you think we should do a live stream now and then and talk about stuff like this. And yeah, cool. That's all I got.
That's it, man. Listen, thanks for listening. If you got this far, thank you to Legendary USA for sponsoring this podcast. And if you haven't already, check out baggersandbrews.com. And there's a link on there to donate to the Tunnel Towers Foundation because for 2024, we have chosen to raise money for those who have been hurt or killed and support the families of people whose family members have made a sacrifice, either protecting this country or protecting the neighborhoods that we live in. And our goal is to reach $50,000 this year. So click that link. I'll have that link in the description of this podcast as well. And no amount is too small.
That's right.
And help us get to our goal of $50,000 for 2024.
Amen.
If we make one good thing this year happen, it'll be donating to that cause. Absolutely. And we are unofficially just over 17,000.
Yeah.
Waiting for some stuff to come in, but yeah, we're unofficially over $17,000, which is more than I ever thought we would get already.
For sure.
But two of us got this bright idea that 50,000 sounded like a good number.
Hey, you can help us also if you go to baggersandbrews.com. Mm-hmm. There is a commemorative poker chip on there that a dear friend of ours used her valuable time to make us a whole bunch of them so that we could sell them. 100% of the proceeds go to the Tunnel Towers Foundation. So go on there, check out the store on there, find that commemorative poker chip and buy that and help us get to that goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.
Peace.